community through Mukti Dharam. Please join me in welcoming a visionary educator and compassionate leader. Sir, over to you.
Sir, shall I start?
Yes, you can start, sir.
Yes. Right. A very good morning to all the learned fraternity. In fact, I feel it's a great privilege on my part to sit before you to share my observations on Maya. First of all, I convey my greatest gratitude to the team of experts who selected this theme. Removing illusion paves the way to reality. In 21st century, even after our great knowledge and scientific world, we are behaving like the barbarians. The greatest example is the things which is happening around us, the war and its results, a great curse to the humanity because of the illusions covered by our heart and soul and mind. Come to my topic, whether the veils of illusion necessary for the development of soul. Let us begin. So, it is not moving, sir. Hello?
Yes, sir.
The PowerPoint is not moving.
Sir, you can just click on the arrow on your keyboard. Right arrow or the mouse.
Yes, yes.
Okay. It's moving. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You can see it.
Today we are exploring a profound spiritual question. Whether the veils of illusion obstacles to truth, are they necessary for the development of the soul? Prior to that, we try to analyze the concept of Maya. Across spiritual traditions all over the various schools of religion, we hear that the world is Maya, illusion. But what does that truly mean? Is this world false, or it is carefully designed training ground? Let us begin with three fundamental questions. What is Maya? Is illusion simply ignorance, or is it part of a deeper cosmic reality? Though the term Maya consists of two letters, Ma-ya. If we go through the original form and the origin of the term Maya, it is syllabi in Sanskrit, ya, ma, sa, ya. That which is not Maya. Rather, that which limits or obscures the truth is Maya. Many assume Maya means that the world does not exist. But this is a misunderstanding. Maya does not mean non-existing. It means misperception or partial truth. In fact, the universe is governed by the intelligence, whether in the form of the God or in the power of Shakti. Then illusion cannot be accidental. It must serve a purpose. The key to spiritual understanding is discovering that purpose. As everybody knows, Sarparajju Bhranti. When we see a rope as a snake in dim light, the snake is false, but the rope is real. The error lies in interpretation. Similarly, the world is not unreal. Our perspective or perception of it is limited. Therefore, illusion is not an absence of reality, it is the limitation of consciousness. In fact, as far as the subject title allotted to me, myself confined to study a book, namely The Ultimate Reality and Realization, contributed by our senior brother, I.K. Taimni Garu. Simply myself confined to that text only. In his presentation, we will approach the subject not only philosophically, but also scientifically as well as mathematically. Because Dr. Taimni Garu, a senior brother of our School of Thought Theosophy, by profession, was a great chemist. He was thoroughly knowledgeable in the school of physics, chemistry, and mathematics. By temperament, as a theosophist, he relatively examined the concept of Maya with scientific, mathematical, and philosophical observation, as our third manifestation says. Illusion is infinite, appearing as the absolute reality, is beyond time, space, and individuality. In our inaugural session, Dr. Shinde Garu explored the time, space, and self as far as Maya is concerned. But for the manifestation to occur, the infinite must appear limited. This limitation is Maya. He even described Maya as a mathematical necessity, for which he compared with the science. Illusion as a protective buffer. How illusion acts as a buffer. Imagine passing extreme high voltage electricity directly into a small bulb would burn instantly. Similarly, the human mind cannot directly withstand the infinite radical of absolute consciousness. Maya acts like a transformer or a dimmer switch. When we are switch on the fan, basing up our necessity, we may use the oscillation or a dimmer switch. In fact, it reduces intensity. It does not hide truth completely. It moderates it so that evolution becomes possible. Without this protective mechanism, spiritual destruction is inevitable. If you look into this image, we can find an age-old lady on the other side, an younger girl. How it is happened? Because of the differentiation and experience. The eyesight distinguish this difference. Differentiation and experience in the field of Maya, pure unity becomes multiplicity through Maya, much like white light becomes a spectrum. If you see this image, when we focus the white light into a prism, it reflects like a rainbow. In fact, we find with our naked eye one color of the light white, but it reflects through prism as 7 colors. Like that, without duality, experience is impossible. And without experience, evolution is impossible. Therefore, limitation makes growth possible. In our human civilization, we can find 2 aspects of our evolution. One is growth, on the other side, resistance. If there is no contrast, there will be no growth. If there is no resistance, there will be no strength. If there is no limitation, there will be no development. Let us compare with our physical exercise. Muscles grow only when resistance is applied. In the same way, the soul grows that limitation and struggle. If everything were instantly perfect, there would be no movement, no aspiration, no transformation. The entire civilization make its turn because of evolution as well as resistance. There is a saying by Khalil Gibran, Tarul Girul Jarul Marunatlu Manishi Maruno Anubhavala Rapidilo. Man changes by experience like water turns its flow, air turns its way. So the mountains shapes its growth according to time and space. Likewise, man also changes by experience. Limitations always creates tension. Tension creates effort. Effort produces evolution. Thus, Maya provides necessary resistance. The best example, all our fraternity may have to focus on the things which is happening around us. USA start its aggression on Iran, that they will have to smash Iran within hours or within days. Even after technical, even after ammunition power, America is lagging behind because the reality is the suppression leads to fighting valorously against the American forces. Limitation creates a tension. Tension creates effort. From effort only, the evolution. With a meager ammunition, Iran is fighting for the last 5 weeks. What is cosmic Maya and individual avidya? Taimni makes an important distinction. Cosmic Maya is universal. It is built into manifestation itself. It cannot be removed while we exist in time and space. But avidya, that is individual ignorance, is ego-based contraction. Cosmic Maya is universal. It is built into manifestation itself. It cannot be removed while we exist in time and space. But avidya, the ignorance, is always based on contract. Cosmic Maya structures experience. Avidya distorts experience. Cosmic Maya structures experience. Avidya distorts experience. Understanding this difference, then we are relieved from the confusion. Usually, we feel suffering is a great curse. Taimni stated that suffering is often misunderstood as punishment. But spiritually speaking, suffering creates a great space to introspection. When life is comfortable, we rarely question. Pain pushes inward. Pain leads to inquiry. Inquiry leads to awareness. Awareness leads to expansion. Thus, suffering becomes evolutionary pressure. In fact, in our day-to-day life, we are being experienced the suffering and its positive results if we efforts to overcome these sufferings. The entire human progress is based on the continuous struggle only. Now come to the mathematical perspective propounded by Taimni. In mathematics, a point has no dimension. We have to carefully observe this statement. In mathematics, a point has no dimension. A movement has no duration. Yet countless points form a line. Countless movements creates time. A movement in mathematics, a point has no dimension. A movement has no duration. Yet countless points form a line. Countless movements create time. Taimni stated that reality in its pure state is a dimensionless. Maya creates the appearance of space and time by structuring reality into discrete. Infinite becomes measurable through limitation. This is why he called Maya a mathematical reality. Consciousness can be compared to vibration. This is also to be observed very carefully. Consciousness always considered as in the form of vibration. At the extreme high frequency, it appears as pure stillness or the absolute consciousness. As vibration slows, it condenses into energy and the matter. Maya regulates this vibrational descent just as a radio receives only certain frequencies. Change the frequency, change the world you experience. In every life of our journey, we have been experienced these vibrations influenced by consciousness. If you project a 3D globe onto a 2D map, distortion occurs because of its contracts. The map is not false, it is incomplete. Similarly, high-dimensional reality projected into lower dimensions appears limited. Observe this map. When the Earth is in the form of the globe, the 3D map is differently focused when we convert it into 2D map. So it loses its shape. When the globe is in the circle form, this is in the vertical form as we draw on the map. Maya is a dimensional reduction. We are not seeing falsehood. We are seeing partial expression. Understanding this transforms our attitude towards reality. Basically, our attitude only means. Here, we must carefully observe. Generally, we crave for knowledge by referring large volumes of books. Generally, people also endorse a person who is highly learned may be considered as an intellectual. Here I would have to quote an example or my experience. When myself was engaged in competitive examinations training, I had an opportunity to interview an IAS officer on behalf of a magazine, namely Udyoga Parvam. What are the secrets to become a successful compeer in competitive examinations? When I posed, that gentleman stated two secrets. Usually, the aspirants of competitive examinations are prone to read number of books. There he suggested that instead of reading 10 books one time, better read one book 10 times, which is considered to be worthy and resourceful. So if we read and assimilate the essence of the book, that serves the purpose. The first secret, he stated that instead of reading 10 books, better read one book 10 times, which is worthy. Next, another advice, he stated that there may be competitors in the competition, but the competition is less. There may be numerous participants for the aspiring competitive examinations, but competition is relatively less, he stated. Likewise, we assume that a person who is well learned is more knowledgeable. But Taimni, based on the Shiva Sutras, he stated that Chaitanyatma, consciousness is the self. Second one, most important, Jnanam Bandhaha. Limited knowledge is bondage. Here we have to remember Huxley's observation. The final end of education is not knowledge, but action. As long as we crave for knowledge, we are pushed to be ignorant. For that, we have to analyze two profound statements by Taimni. Consciousness is the self, limited knowledge is bondage. Why is knowledge bondage? Because knowing one object excludes awareness of the infinite world. Please underline. Because knowing one object excludes awareness of the infinite whole. Consciousness contracts into individuality. That contraction is bondage. Liberation is expansion of awareness beyond limitation. The absolute
Sir, before you go ahead, I just want to add we have another 5 minutes.
Okay. 5 minutes?
Yes.
Oh, come to an end. Is Maya a curse? Without Maya, there will be no individuality. There is no experience. There is no evolution. With Maya, we can find growth. We can observe identity and self-recognition. Thus, Maya is not a curse. It is a training ground. It is the womb in which awakening matters. Myself is concluding, Maya is not a curse. It is a training ground. It is the womb in which awakening matters. The goal is not to escape the world. The goal is to see through limitations. When perception expands, illusion naturally ends. Finally, I close this talk by referring a poet, namely Syed Roshan Safiq Ahmad. Mirror speaks, just lips stay mute. Truth wears a mask, dressed in a suit. Shadows chase where light once lay, yet the sun forgets the game it plays. Path unfold, yet lead to none. A race we run, yet are never done. Eyes wide open, yet blind to see, for the caged bird thinks it is free. So, Maya is not a curse, it is a vehicle to realize the reality. Thank you very much. And I am very grateful to the organizers for providing me an opportunity to address this one. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this deeply engaging and beautifully articulated talk. Now I would like to invite our next speaker, Dr. R. Revati, was born and brought up in Theosophical Society at Adyar campus. She studied in Pleasant Theosophical High School. Doctor by profession, specialized in pediatrics, child health, and nutrition and public health. She served the Tamil Nadu Medical Service for more than 30 years across various institutions. She's received many awards for implementing ongoing national health programs in rural areas. She's been on All India Radio, Doordarshan, answering public health awareness issues and outreach programs. Currently helping the TOS dispensary and active member of TOS and involved in many other activities. Dr. Revati, over to you. Yes.
Respected organizers, dear brothers and sisters, and all viewers, let me express my heartfelt thanks to the organizers for giving me the opportunity to speak before you on a very, very important and great theosophical subject of divine wisdom. I hesitated for a moment to speak on the subject, the divine wisdom. How can a person who has not gained this wisdom completely dare to speak on the subject? How can a person who has not reached the destination guide others on the path? But then I analyzed the topic given to me. Be a learner to reach a state of divine wisdom. Then I thought, a person, a beginner, a learner, a student who would like to travel for some distance, at least on the paths, certainly share that understanding, however insignificant it may be, with co-travelers. I also feel that it is my duty to share my views on the subject. All of us here are co-travelers trying to reach the same destination. We do not know how long the distance is which has to be covered. and how many obstructions we may have to face on the way. In olden days, when people had to cross a small river which was in spate, they used to form a line by firmly holding the hands of each other and cross it successfully. Divine wisdom is such a river in space, and the Theosophical Society is simply an association of people trying to cross it together. One thing that gives me utmost satisfaction is the fact that I have spent my entire life so far on this sacred soil of Adyar. As a child of 6 to 7 years, I used to ask my father, who spent his entire service here, as to why our place is called the Theosophical Society. He replied, Theo means Brahman, Sophi means Jnana, and the society refers to a group of people, and Brahman Jnana Sangam or Sabai was a more popular name in those days for Theosophical Society in South India. This explanation was sufficient to me at that age. It was only a couple of decades later that I wanted to know what exactly this theosophy or Brahman Jnana means. My quest started at that time and it continues unabatedly till today. I have read as many books as my time would permit me in addition to my professional books. I've attended so many lectures, seminars, conventions, and conferences whenever I could make it. I've interacted with so many members of the Theosophical Society as well as with persons who follow their own religions meticulously. But the real question is, to say it frankly, the quest continues till today. Our theosophical literature came up with the translation of Brahmanyana as divine wisdom, and volumes have been written on the subject. While going through some of these books, I have read an observation made by Brother N. Sriram, our former and late international president, while referring to the different possible approaches to what theosophy is. He observed the longer one studies it, the less easy it is to define it. The longer one studies it, the less easy it is to define it. I really agree with him because through that observation, I can honorably cover up my inability to define it. It is well known that the Theosophical Society is an organization whose members belong to various religions, and we do not discriminate them on the basis of religion because we recognize that each religion is a path to reach God. We recognize that the goal of all these religions is the same because the ultimate truth cannot be different to different religions. We also recognize that this truth had been in existence since time immemorial and it will continue to be there infinitely. The Sanskrit equivalent of the word truth is Satyam. This refers to a thing that was there yesterday, that is there today, and that will be there tomorrow. That is to say, that it has its presence in all three divisions of time past, present, and future. Madam H.P. Blavatsky writes in the Key to Theosophy, the first basic text on the subject. She writes, Theosophy as it has existed eternally throughout the endless cycles of the past, so it will ever exist throughout the infinitudes of the future, because theosophy is synonymous with everlasting truth. In spiritual parlance, when we say that truth alone triumphs, we mean that the divine will alone will ultimately prevail. In the same way, when we say Satyan Nasti Paro Dharma, we mean that there is no religion higher than truth. In this context, we can understand the word religion as an honest pursuit of truth. That is why We are interested to know the essence of the various religious teachings, and we try to study them even as we belong to a particular religion, and then we compare our methods with the methods of other religions. That is why our second object is stated as the study of comparative religion. It must be clearly understood that this comparison is made only to get the best that exists in every religion. While doing so, we try to steer the clear of the superstitions and dogmas associated with that particular religion. Having agreed that all these religions are in pursuit of the same truth, you may say, why not we ask the people of these religions to define or at least explain the nature of truth, compare their answers, and come to a reliable conclusion? This is not so easy as it appears because they give different versions. This position is stated in Vedanta when it is said, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuta Vadanti. The ultimate truth is one and the same, but the scholars described it variously. Surely, their knowledge, their honesty, their sympathy, their intentions are all unquestionably good, and yet their descriptions vary. Now, the reason for this variance is obvious. The same truth appeared to them in different forms. They've experienced the same truth, but each in different manner. A thousand seekers may travel in the same path and reach the same destination, but when they come back and tell us their experience, it differs in thousand ways. Why should such a thing happen? Why should their experience be different? Is there any basis for this variation? Vedanta says it is their karmic result. Our evolution has been taking place without anybody's knowledge in all the previous births we had, and its combined effect is visible in this life. So it means that we are all moving in a way that is predestined. Does it mean that we have no freedom to change this course? Are we simply prisoners of this destiny? Certainly not. We do have some freedom to change the course by removing these karmic vasanas as far as possible, by refining our thoughts, by filling our hearts with love, by treating every other person as a brother, and by trying to help him spontaneously. This longing to help others in trouble should be felt intensely by any seeker. He should be prepared to sacrifice his own comforts and hard earned benefits for the sake of uplifting others. We do come across such great people who can be remembered as a role model in doing such selfless service. One of the acharyas, Sri Ramanujan, traveled a long distance 18 times, after which his guru gave him an esoteric mantra with instruction not to divulge it to others, lest he would go to hell. But he came back, went up the temple tower, and divulged it to all the seekers there. When his guru reminded him about the punishment, he replied, Guru, I don't mind going to hell when I could liberate so many people from their ignorance and suffering. Such is the large heartedness that one should try to develop to experience the divine wisdom. Dr. Annie Besant was a diamond soul who rendered multifaceted service to humanity, and she calls Theosophy the revealer of the heart. She says, Theosophy, the divine wisdom, teach us to look at the heart, not at the outer appearance, to look at the divine life, not at the outer material differences. Possibly in that will be found the final solution of our many difficulties. Maybe this outlook of her and experience made her achieve and succeed in rendering multifaceted service to humanity in a short period. Theosophy insists on the refinement of our outer conduct. There are two ways of doing it. If your mind is sympathetic to others, it makes your hand stretch out with help. This phenomenon is called Yat Bhavam Tad Bhavati. There is also another way of doing things. You can start doing good things to others without thinking much about it. Such practice for long periods automatically refines your thought. This is due to the force of habit. That is why we insist on a nucleus of universal brotherhood. Every one of us can become a center. From these forces go out. There is yet another way of cultivating this universal brotherhood of all life. It is by recognizing the fact that the entire universe has come into existence in accordance with the divine plan, and we are all part of this plan, and we should know that the same Lord who created us is verily dwelling in the hearts of all living beings. Antasharati bhuteshu guhayam vishwamurtishu. It was if we steadfastly develop this faith, the feeling of universal brotherhood will spontaneously flow from our hearts. Your outer conduct will naturally fit into your thinking. So think you are noblest, you are highest, you are purest. Aim high, keep your ideals lofty, keep your judgment of others charitable. Such an attitude will raise your fellow brother. A man rises by being loud. Such a training would take you nearer to the divine wisdom. We have already explained that truth means ceaseless existence. In our theosophical parlance, this truth is stated as an ultimate and absolute truth, and all other things have secondary importance only. There are also some other attributes to Brahman or ultimate divinity, qualities like omnipotence, omnipresence, all pervasiveness are freely used to describe it. Each one of these attributes requires a lot of devotion and knowledge, even to understand it. If somebody says that a person is inside the house, we can easily confirm that he is not in any place outside the house at that moment. But Brahman will be inside, outside, and everywhere else at the same moment. Brahman is invisible to the human eye, but at the same time makes the human eye to see everything around it. It is the light of all lights. It is the smallest of small things, smaller than the thousand part of an atom. It is bigger than the biggest thing, and you can imagine. So it is therefore described as Anor Aniyan, Magator Mahiyan. At the same time, Brahman descends on earth in any form he likes or any form you see. This is the root cause for the differences in the experience of various great people. So we must concede that they all tell us the same truth, but in the way they have experienced it. This results in the apparent differences. Theosophy says nothing particularly new. It only asks you to keep seeking and discover it yourself. We deliberately use the word discover only to indicate that the same light is already shining in every person, and it is, however, covered by the veils of Maya. Why should the ever free Brahman enter this great ocean of dense matter? It is because there is a joy in becoming many, there is a joy in scattering abroad of power of life, there is a joy in creation, in pouring out life into the forms we create. In the process, we became its slave, at least for some time. Such an awareness itself will prompt you to discover the hidden light. A lot has been said about Brahman, the ultimate, but the fact remains that it is beyond the words. So we should only say it is, and when this is said, all is said. It is different from the known, and it's beyond the unknown. You can only show your known thing here and there and say that Brahman is not this and it is not that. Yaneti neti vachane nigamo avachu. While division is divine wisdom is left undefined, theosophy insists on the development of your consciousness in a way that is suitable to discover and experience the absolute truth. The consciousness, which was originally poor, has been covered by the waves of karmic effect, belonging to innumerable births which have taken place so far. It is very difficult to raise your consciousness above the influence of so many previous births. It works in two ways. It gains the knowledge of the world it seeks around it. It is of peripheral value. Secondly, it looks inside itself and molds its feelings, which are reflected in actions, vice versa, the external world. This is very, very important. This faculty, how you feel, how you react, how you approach the fellow citizens in the outer world is a measure of your wisdom. So, knowledge is simply knowing about something, and wisdom, how you feel, act, and approach that something. Knowledge mostly sees what is visible to the eye, but wisdom sees what is hidden in life, its purpose, its manifestation, and its entire process. If these details are fully grasped, then the consciousness is raised to the level of divine wisdom. At this stage, the dividing line between the wisdom and the divinity disappears, and they both sail in the same plane. Vedas declare Prajnanam Brahma. It can be interpreted to mean that wisdom is divinity and the divinity is wisdom. Both knowledge and wisdom are referred to as jnana in Sanskrit, but Brahma jnana, divine wisdom, is explained as that knowledge by knowing which everything else will be known. Brahmanyana is that knowledge by knowing which everything else will be known. So, wisdom is treated as divine. Normally, we think wisdom as an abstract thing and God as a personification of valuable attribute. But at one stage, they merge, and in the process, the individual who meditates and gets wisdom loses his identity. Thus, the person meditating, the object of meditation, and the act of meditation merge as one unit. This sort of wisdom alone is divine wisdom. How can anyone, after gaining this experience, explain it to others? It is just impossible to translate this experience into the words. You cannot also make other man understand this experience through any method. The very purpose of Vedas is to explain this process of divinity to the world. They tried their best, but after some time retreated by saying, I have no words to describe it. Eto vacha nivardayante aprapya manasa saha. This brings us to saying that theosophy is indefinable and we are trying to define it. Modern science, with all its advancement, cannot alter the truth. Our theosophical knowledge is far superior to the scientific knowledge. The science of Vedanta reaches the perfect stage when it realizes the truth enshrined in Tattvamasi, thou art that. No modern science can be expected to explain the nature of divine wisdom to us, which Vedas themselves could not do. If it is indefinable, inexplicable, how are we to identify and prepare ourselves to experience this wisdom? Sri Krishna comes to our rescue by listing the 20 attributes to indicate the nature of wisdom. You can see it in the listing. And the 20 attributes on the screen. And it is with utmost respect that I recall the words of Madame Blavatsky, who defined the theosophical way of ascending the golden stairs. The golden stairs of the steps of which we learners must climb to the temple of divine wisdom and experience it. So, brothers and sisters, we are ordinary mortals, saddled with the burden of samsara, struggling hard to keep ourselves afloat in the troubled ocean under the cover of darkness. It is for people like us, for the downtrodden, for the ignorant, and for the suffering that theosophy beams the ray of light, shows the way for liberation. It shows the way from unreal to the real, from darkness to light, and from death to eternity. So let us pray. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya, Om Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Om Mrityor Mamrutam Gamaya. Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Revati, for your beautiful and accurate sharing. Your words gently challenge us to look within our question and readiness to go and go again. I thank you once again. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to both our speakers. So we have about 5 minutes now to go on for a quick short break. Before that, if anybody has any questions, please let us know. If not, we will move forward.
Next session after break, 10:45.
Okay, 10:45. Any questions, anybody? Okay. In that case, I think we will come back on to the next session at 10:45. I think some theosophical videos will also be playing now. So, and the meeting will be open. I hope to see everybody at 10:45. And the next chairperson would be Deepika.
आता 10:45.
अशोक खरातच्या प्रकरणामध्ये ईडीची एंट्री होणार आहे, अधिकृतपणे होणार. सो ती एंट्री कोणाच्या माध्यमातून होणार आहे, कशा पद्धतीनं होणार आहे हे सांगण्याच्या आधी या सगळ्या प्रकरणात ते नव्याने खुलासे होत असताना एक महिला अधिकारी आहे, त्या महिला अधिकाऱ्याचे या खरातचे संबंध हे खूपच अधिक जवळीकीचे होते असं आता पोलीस तपासामध्ये दिसून आलं. खास करून ही महिला अधिकारी ही खरातच्या बंगल्यावरती दर 3-4 दिवसाला मुक्कामी असायच्या आणि त्या महिला अधिकाऱ्यांना खरात ह्याचे पैसे हे स्वतःच्या बुद्धी कौशल्याने वेगवेगळ्या ठिकाणी वळते केले असावेत असा अंदाज आहे. ही महिला अधिकारी ही कदाचित या प्रकरणातली खरात कुटुंबीय सोडून दुसरी अटक होणारी महत्वाची व्यक्ती बनू शकते. ईडीचे इथे एंट्री व्हायच्या आधी म्हणजे त्याचा तपशील का आणि कशा पद्धतीने येतोय ते सांगण्याच्या आधी पुण्यामध्ये सीएम